Hey guys, it's Charlie. I'm just taking a moment to go live here a little bit to just kind of talk for a moment about the ramifications of what the Netflix Warner Brothers merger, Netflix, Warner Brothers, and HBO merger could mean. Now, we'll start right here. This is a good spot right here. These, right here, are some of my favorite movies of all time. Now, a lot of these titles here, like up here, okay, so this corner right here, you're gonna see like some like Warner Brothers, yeah, so you got Sinners right there, that's Warner, Superman, that's Warner, HBO titles, do I have any HBO titles here? Maybe on like another shelf, I have a couple different shelves right here, but yeah, so like, stuff like this right here, this physical media right here, this stuff that I have on shelves, with this merger, potentially, all this stuff could just be locked up on a streaming site, Netflix, where somebody outside of your control now alters your media, basically. They can basically put it on, take it off at will. They can change things up. Okay. Let's take, for example, this guy right here. This is beautiful Dawn of the Dead right here. Say, for example, somebody decided, you know what? This is a great movie. It's got a great political stance on like consumerism, but we really don't like the fact that there are zombies and zombies getting killed in this movie. So let's just go back in and retroactively take out all the zombie killings and just show the movie whatever is remaining, basically. Somebody can literally go in, alter that, and physically do that. And then you're not getting the full picture of what the movie really is about. Because somebody else over you decided this needed to be changed because it no longer suits what we want others to see. Okay, yeah, so like I said, this is just like a bunch of like my favorite movies right here. Oh, my absolute favorite, of course. I might as well grab this guy real quick. Back to the Future, best trilogy ever, of course. And of course, Alien and Aliens, my absolute favorite sequel of all time, second best movie of all time. This is awesome. Okay, so what we have down here on this shelf are Dinobots, of course, and then below them, a small little like 4K section that I've kind of like accumulated right here. So good stuff like Casablanca right here, and the Maltese Falcon, which somebody went back and basically fixed up to make it the best quality that it could be. That's something that Warner Brothers is really, really good at, is they go back to their previous catalog and they will take out the blemishes and things like that. They have a full department that takes care of things like that for their restorations and brings it back to pristine quality. Another really great example of that would be their Universal Monsters collection, which is on another shelf. We'll go to that shelf in a little bit. So yeah, stuff like that, that's what Warner Brothers really makes their bread and butter off of. It's not just their newer movies, but just retroactively being able to go back and fix the blemishes that years and years and years of grain have just destroyed. So bringing things back to the best quality they could be. That is a template of what makes Warner Brothers Warner Brothers. So somebody else retroactively taking control of their media, their newer media and their older media. That's really what the Netflix merger could mean if it does in fact go through. Think about that. Okay, so on this shelf right here, we got some DVDs, my Kevin Smith DVDs right here, a couple of comedies, and some music video collections right here, and Tales from the Crypt, a Tales from the Crypt VHS that I just use as display purposes. Okay, so what we have here are my boutique labels. So you got Arrow right here. On this shelf, we have Criterion and Blue Underground. On this shelf, what we have is Indicator. So those are some like lesser known French horror movies right there. So those are the French films. Right here, we got Kino Lorber and Terror Vision. Terror Vision being Rumpelstiltskin right there. Okay, so what we have here, that's Second Sight. Kind of lesser known films like, this is a good one, Martin. My friend Patrick, he probably really enjoys the fact that I do have this. It is in my collection, and I love it because it's a lesser known film that I otherwise would not have known about, because this isn't the type of movie that you would find on streaming. This is kind of like forgotten media that a boutique label decided was worthy of an upgrade. And of course, it's also got special features right here. That is the one thing about these boutique labels, especially the ones from overseas. They know what a real collector wants, because they give you everything you could possibly want in special features. So the idea of your media now being controlled on a streaming platform makes things like the boutique labels, like all these beautiful guys right here, Umbrella right here, Aonix, Vestron right here, and then Vinegar Syndrome right down here. All of this obsolete, because now somebody else is in charge of what you're watching and deciding what you should be watching and what will essentially become forgotten media, because there's no physical media for you to be able to purchase and have for yourself, because it's all controlled by a streaming site. And then, of course, on this shelf right here, it's kind of a little bit adjacent of the boutique labels. Like, okay, here we go. So right here is a media book that Arrow compiled for The Mask. So you got all these beautiful production images. Like, okay, that's a good image right there of Cameron Diaz, and of course Jim Carrey as the Mask right there. So all this beautiful stuff that these boutique labels do to really make movie fans like actually feel appreciated and cared for, all this just disappears because now somebody else has decided that's not important physically having it, as long as it's on a streaming service and you can watch it whenever somebody deems it's okay to watch it. So all that just disappears. And of course, that's my Goosebumps. A couple more DVDs right there. A few more of those media books. And kind of like a newer release section right here of like newer movies. I kind of put all these guys together right here whenever I want to grab like a newer release. Okay? So what we're doing now is we're going to come up and we're going to move right over here. Let's focus on this section now. What we have here is some of Scream Factory's like lesser known collections right here. So right here, what we have is the Fly collection. Right here, the Mario Bava collection. These are things of beauty right here. I'm really into this right now. And right over here, what we have is their Blaxploitation collection. Once again, this is Shout Factory. which recently had a liquidation sale and now became part of Groove Entertainment. So kind of already this merger idea is already kind of starting with the boutiques. Kind of now. They're slowly consolidating their resources and becoming basically merged into something else. And it's going to make it harder eventually to be able to own beautiful things like this, because now it's basically consolidated into something else and they're no longer their own entity. So things are run differently. And of course we got Critters right here, and that is my Street Fighter Chiaki Kuriyama. Is it Chiaki Kuriyama or Sunny Shiba? My Sunny Shiba. Chiaki Kuriyama is Gogo from Kill Bill. But yeah, that's the Street Fighter collection right here. Sunny Shiba. That is a VHS of Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Master. That's Roxetta the Destroyer. She, of course, loves to check out physical media. Hi, Roxetta. Okay. Right here, as I was saying. So right here, this collection, this thing of beauty right here, this is my Universal Monsters collections. Fully restored by Universal. Now with the possibility of a streaming service having control of it, that becomes consolidated now. It becomes obsolete because somebody else decided restoration of older films no longer important. Right over here, what we got is my Sean Connery collection, the 007s, and Austin Powers and Rocky. And then right over here, Warner again, that is basically, it's not all of them. I'm still kind of like working my way through it, but those are the Christopher Lee Dracula movies. So those would be Hammer Horror, my Hammer Horror collection that I'm slowly working on. And then right over here, down here, what you have is Italian Giallos and a Crypt Keeper cup that is basically vintage to me. I've had that since Halloween of 2001 when Crypt Keeper and Elvira did the hanging event, basically, at Not Scary Farm. Right over here, it's basically my anime and Studio Ghibli collection. I don't have that many anime movies in my collection. I'm still kind of working on those. So they basically became merged together with Studio Ghibli. Right over here, we just got shelves of books right here. They're also physical media. That's the Barnes & Noble collection right there. That is my Stephen King collection right there behind my desk. Right up here, kind of like a hodgepodge of horror. So this is like a horror section right here. That is like my Evil Dead's right there, Thanksgiving and Grindhouse. A few horror DVDs. Here's a really tough one to find on physical media. It's a DVD of this little movie from the 80s called Near Dark, a vampire movie. A really awesome vampire movie directed by Kathryn Bigelow. Physical media on that one, it's been really hard to find that one because the minute a company puts it out on physical media, it basically becomes obsolete, like almost right away because of rights issues. But right now, the rights on that one have officially converted back to the rights holder. So we might be able to still get some physical media for that in the near future, like a new 4K Blu-ray, hopefully. And of course we got also like my Stephen King's and my Chucky's right there, beside the Freddy from Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Down here, just a few more of my Shout Factory collections right there. Shout Factory is like a major like horror label, so I kind of collected like a small section of their greatest hits on this side, and also their bigger greatest hits right here, also kind of mixed in with Kino Lorber's greatest hits. So I'm just gonna take them in. Oh, and Arrow as well too is kind of in there as well. So yeah, just taking a moment to kind of show off these guys right here. My collection is basically an expression of me, and I curate and just love the hell out of these old movies. Some of these are really, really old. And I mean, this is what it's like to be a collector. I just got shelves of these beautiful movies. Shelves of these beautiful movies that then becomes obsolete when it's put on a streaming service where it could just easily be removed or altered if somebody decided they didn't like something on it, which sucks. Because I feel like movies, it's better to keep movies the way they were originally released in their original intention. It's better to show it the way it was meant to originally be than to go back and retroactively edit it unless you're restoring what's already there. Because what's already there is the director's vision. Unless in extreme cases where something just wasn't quite right or wasn't quite what the director had intended, then you retroactively go back and put together what it was originally, if that makes sense. Okay, here's a really good example of like something where retroactively going back and fixing is good. It's a little movie called Nightbreed from the 90s. Now, the original cut of Nightbreed was a disaster. Clive Barker, the director, what wound up being released in theaters was not his original vision. It was completely watered down and altered and just edited because it suited it suited theaters at that time, but it wasn't what he originally wanted. So retroactively, what Shout Factory, again, that same boutique label that I've kind of been talking about a lot in this video, what they did basically was they got the rights to this movie. They got in touch with Clive Barker and the main actor of it, and they retroactively went back, took all the production videos, just everything that they were able to kind of piece back together after all these years, and re-released it as the director's cut. In that situation, it is okay to go back and fix something that wasn't quite to what the director had originally wanted because of studio interference. That's okay to do that, because now you're essentially going back. The director is taking back control, and he's just fixing it to where he wanted it to be, where the product becomes something better, in essence, because it's closer to the director's original vision. That's the thing with media for me, is that the director's vision is really what matters the most. And of course, since we're talking about like Netflix and physical media disappearing, somebody else kind of in control of what you're watching, eventually at some point, stuff like this, like these beautiful vinyls right here, because that's what these are. This is like a vinyl stack right here. Stuff like this disappears because it's just not essential anymore. That's a live album of Alice Cooper right there. Stuff like this becomes obsolete when there aren't things like movies in the theaters, because that's what else would disappear when everything is just dumped onto a streaming service instead of in theaters. Because now things like soundtracks, they're no longer as essential because it's just going onto a streaming service. They don't have the budget the way that movie productions do to get certain artists, like say
Don't leave me, Soundwave.
okay, like say like to get the rights to something like a Rolling Stones album, like this one. This is Sticky Fingers right here. To get the rights for something like that, and I think that actually goes back over here, because Some Girls goes right there. So to get rights to music or a catalog like that, it costs money. It costs money that a movie production would have when it's on a theater budget, as opposed to like what a streaming budget is. It's vastly different because it's different priorities, because it's a different medium. Stuff like this could eventually become obsolete as well, the same way that physical media would be obsolete, because it's just no longer deemed necessary, because it's also dumped on a streaming service like Amazon Music. Or, what's the other one people use a lot of? Spotify. Spotify. Yeah, so that's like my vinyls right there. One more little Shout Factory section right over here. That's their classic Halloween and Friday the 13th selection right there. And Slimer up there with some Transformers Triple Changers. Yeah, so I've just basically been going on for about 20 minutes now, just talking about physical media and what it means to me, because stuff like this is important to me as a collector. And then, of course, in this last little section right here, we just have like your standard like Disney's right here. That's Universal right here. And then that's Warner's right here in this corner. So yeah, stuff like this just becomes obsolete in a reality where digital is the biggest platform, where digital is like the only way that you can accumulate your media. I hope that things change and that physical media always stays around, because I would like to continue to have access to something physically. If a streaming service goes down or if the content is taken away from me, I want to be able to watch great movies. I want to be able to enjoy it, because that's just the way I am. I get my history basically from watching these older movies that people just kind of forget about because they're not big in the pop culture. Like, I want to be able to watch this bad boy right here, Super Mario Brothers, and this is the producer's cut right here that Umbrella did. I want to be able to enjoy this one right here, because you rarely find this one on streaming. It just doesn't exist, because it's just deemed not worthy to be streamed, because the movie was just so bad. But to me, it's so bad that it's good. That's literally it. It's so bad that it's good. And same with this guy right here. You got the Dolph Lundgren Masters of the Universe right here. It's so bad and so cheesy that it's actually good. That's literally what it means to me. Alright guys, well, that's it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed just me going through my collection and talking about what I got right here. Alright guys, peace. Hell yeah, it's survival of the fittest.